At 18, my dad kicked me out for disrespect. I asked why my sister got a car, and I didn't. 2 years later, she totaled the car. He asked me for help with the payments. I laughed. Hey, Reddit. So my dad kicked me out at 18 for asking a simple question. 2 years later, karma came knocking, and he expected me to bail him out. I had other plans. Buckle up because this one's a ride. I'm Jake, 20 male, and I've been the invisible kid in my family since birth. My younger sister Emma, 18 female, has always been the golden child. Not because she's smarter or more talented or anything special, just because she's the baby and she's a girl. My parents, Bill and Karen, had this weird dynamic where Emma could do no wrong. She failed a test, the teacher was too hard. She wrecked something, accidents happen, she broke curfew, she was just being a teenager. Meanwhile, I got grounded for bringing home a B+ in algebra. Got my phone taken away for being 10 minutes late from basketball practice because the coach kept us over. Had to pay for my own car insurance at 16 while working part-time at a grocery store. The favoritism was so obvious, it would have been funny if it wasn't my life. Family dinners where Emma got praised for turning in homework on time while my honor roll certificates went unmentioned. Birthday parties where she got expensive gifts and I got practical stuff like socks and school supplies. When I was 16 and Emma was 14, she begged for a car. Not when she turned 16, right then at 14, 2 years before she could even drive. My parents actually started shopping for one. Tess drove a bunch of sedans and crossovers. Took her along to pick colors and features. I'd been driving the family's beat-up 2003 Honda Civic with 180,000 miles on it. Thing barely ran. Check engine light permanently on. AC broken. Radio stuck on one country station. But it got me to school and work. So that's what I got. When Emma turned 16, they surprised her with a brand new Mazda CX-5. Not used, not a few years old, brand spanking new with temporary plates and that new car smell. Pearl white with leather seats and a sunroof. The works. I remember standing in the driveway watching her scream and jump around while my parents recorded it on their phones. Dad handed her the keys like he'd just given her the world. Mom was crying happy tears. It was a whole production. "This is amazing," Emma kept saying. "I can't believe you got me a brand new car." My dad looked so proud. "You deserve it, princess. You've worked hard in school." Emma's GPA was like 2.9. Mine was 3.7. But sure, she worked hard. That night at dinner, they were still going on about the car. Emma was planning road trips with her friends, talking about decorating the interior, asking if she could get a custom license plate. I'd been saving up for months to buy my own car. Had about $3,000 in the bank from working 20 hours a week at the grocery store while taking AP classes. I was looking at used Toyotas and Hondas in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. "Hey, Dad," I said during a break in Emma's car talk. "Since Emma got a new car, does that mean I can have the Civic? Or are you planning to help me buy something?" The table went quiet. Emma stopped mid-sentence about her custom floor mats. Mom's fork froze halfway to her mouth. Dad looked at me like I'd just asked him to donate a kidney. "What?" he said. "I'm just asking if you're planning to help me get a car too. Emma got a brand new one, so I figured maybe you'd help me get something used or chip in on what I've saved." Dad's face went red. "That's completely different." "How?" "Emma needed a reliable car for school and activities. You already have access to the Civic. The Civic barely runs. And it's the family car, not mine." "You should be grateful you have access to any vehicle at all," Mom chimed in. "Do you know how many kids don't even have that?" "I'm not ungrateful. I'm just asking if you're planning to help me buy a car like you helped Emma." Dad threw down his napkin. "Your sister appreciates what she's given. You're sitting here complaining and making demands like you're entitled to something." "I'm not making demands. I asked a question. A disrespectful question," he shot back. "We worked hard to give Emma that car. She's been looking forward to it for 2 years. And you're trying to ruin her moment by making it about yourself." Emma looked like she was about to cry. "Jake, why are you being like this?" "I'm not being like anything. I just want to know if Dad's planning to help me too." "Everything's always about you," Emma said. "Can't I just have this one thing without you making it weird?" One thing. Like this was the first time she'd gotten something I hadn't. "Forget it," I said, standing up. "Congratulations on the car, Emma." I went to my room and closed the door. Heard them downstairs talking about how ungrateful I was, how I'd ruined Emma's special day, how I needed to learn to be happy for other people. That conversation was the beginning of the end. Over the next few weeks, things got worse. Dad barely spoke to me except to criticize. Mom kept making comments about appreciating what you have. Emma acted like I'd personally attacked her. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. I started picking up extra shifts at work just to avoid being home. Came back late, went straight to my room, left early in the morning. Easier than dealing with the cold shoulders and passive-aggressive comments. My 18th birthday came and went with minimal fanfare. Emma had gotten a party with all her friends, a cake from the fancy bakery, and gifts piled high. Mine was a card with $50 in it and a grocery store cake Mom picked up on the way home from work. "We figured you're an adult now, so you don't need a big celebration," Dad said when I opened the card. 2 weeks later, I came home from work around 10 p.m. I'd been working a double shift, morning stocking and evening cashier duties. My feet hurt. I smelled like the produce section, and I just wanted to crash. Dad was waiting in the living room, arms crossed, TV off, sitting in the dark like some kind of movie villain. "We need to talk," he said. I dropped my backpack by the door. "About what?" "Your attitude, your disrespect, the way you treat your mother and sister." "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb. Ever since Emma got her car, you've been making everyone miserable with your jealousy and entitlement." I was too tired for this. "Dad, I haven't said anything about the car since that dinner. I've barely been home." "Exactly. You're avoiding your family because you can't be happy for your sister. I'm working to save money for college and my own car. That's not avoiding anyone. You're 18 now, an adult. And adults don't live here for free while making everyone else miserable." Something in his tone made my stomach drop. "What does that mean?" "It means if you can't respect this family and appreciate what you have, maybe you should find somewhere else to live." The room tilted slightly. "You're kicking me out? I'm giving you a choice. Adjust your attitude and contribute positively to this household, or find your own place. I work 40 hours a week and pay for all my own stuff. What more do you want? I want a son who's grateful instead of bitter, who supports his sister instead of resenting her, who doesn't question every decision your mother and I make. I asked one question about getting help with a car, and you've been holding it against us ever since. I'm done walking on eggshells in my own house." Mom appeared in the hallway then. She'd clearly been listening. "Bill, maybe we should—" "No," Dad cut her off. "He needs to learn this lesson. The world doesn't owe him anything just because his sister got something nice." I looked between them. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. Dad stared me down like he was daring me to argue. "So that's it?" I said. "I ask one question and you kick me out?" "You have two choices," Dad repeated. "Change your attitude or find somewhere else to live." The thing about people like my dad is they make ultimatums expecting you to fold. They think if they push hard enough, you'll cave and apologize and beg to stay. They don't expect you to actually leave. "Fine," I said. "I'll be gone by the end of the week." Dad's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected that. "Don't be dramatic. You just told me to leave if I can't change my attitude. My attitude isn't the problem, so I'm leaving." "Jake, come on," Mom said quietly. "He didn't mean—" "Yeah, he did." I looked at Dad. "You meant it. So I'm taking you up on it." I went to my room and closed the door. Heard them arguing in hushed voices downstairs. Didn't care. Started figuring out my next move. I had about $3,200 saved up. Not much, but enough to get started. Called my buddy Austin, who'd moved into an apartment with two other guys after graduating the year before. Asked if they had space for a fourth roommate. "Dude, one of our guys just bailed to move back home," Austin said. "Room's yours if you want it. Rent's $400 a month plus utilities." "I'll take it." "What happened?" "I'll tell you when I get there." Spent the next 3 days packing my stuff while my parents acted like nothing was happening. Dad went to work, came home, watched TV. Mom cooked dinner and pretended everything was normal. Emma avoided me completely. On day 4, I loaded everything I owned into the trunk and backseat of the dying Civic. Clothes, laptop, books, basketball trophies, high school yearbooks. Wasn't much when you laid it all out. Dad was in the garage when I backed out of the driveway for the last time. He watched me go without saying anything. Mom stood at the window looking sad, but not sad enough to actually do anything about it. Emma was at a friend's house. Didn't even say goodbye. And just like that, I was homeless at 18 with $3,000 to my name and a car that might not make it another month. The apartment Austin found me was a dump. 3rd floor of a converted house with thin walls, mysterious stains on the carpet, and a bathroom shared by 3 guys who couldn't figure out how shower curtains worked. But it was mine. My space that I paid for with my own money. Austin and his roommates, Leo and Zach, were decent guys, all working various retailer service jobs, trying to figure out life after high school. We weren't close friends, but we coexisted without drama. I kept my job at the grocery store and picked up a second one washing dishes at a diner 3 nights a week. Between both jobs, I was pulling in about $1,800 a month before taxes. Rent and utilities ate $500. Food, another $200. Gas and car insurance, $150. I was getting by, barely. The Civic died 2 months after I moved out. Transmission went on the highway. Had to get it towed to a shop where the mechanic laughed and told me the repair would cost more than the car was worth. Sold it for scrap for $300 and started taking the bus to work. Added an hour to my commute each way, but I couldn't afford anything else. My parents never checked in. Not a call, not a text, nothing. Like I'd never existed. I tried reaching out once about a month after moving out. Sent a text to the family group chat saying I was settled and doing okay. Included my new address. Got left on read. Emma eventually responded 2 days later with okay and nothing else. That hurt worse than the silence. 6 months in, I enrolled at community college. Could only afford 2 classes since I was paying out of pocket. Intro to Business and College Algebra. Took them at night after my dishwashing shift. Got home around 11 p.m., did homework until 1 a.m., back up at 6 for the opening shift at the grocery store. It was brutal. Some days I was so tired I could barely see straight. Fell asleep on the bus more than once and missed my stop. But I kept pushing because what else was I going to do? Crawl back to my parents and admit they were right? Not happening. Around month 8, my manager at the grocery store offered me a promotion to assistant supervisor. Small pay bump to $14 per hour, but it came with consistent full-time hours and actual benefits. I took it. Quit the dishwashing job and focused on the grocery store and school. Life got slightly less miserable. Started making actual friends too. There was this girl Jenna in my business class who studied at the same coffee shop I did. We'd compare notes and complain about the professor who couldn't explain compound interest to save his life. You work like 50 hours a week and go to school? She asked one night over terrible coffee shop coffee. Something like that. That's intense. Most people I know are either working or going to school, not both. Yeah, well, most people I know have parents who help with rent. She didn't push for details, which I appreciated. We became study partners, then actual friends. She introduced me to her roommate Sierra, who worked at a bank and was always talking about personal finance stuff. Sierra convinced me to open a Roth IRA and start saving even small amounts for retirement. Compound interest is your friend when you're young, she explained over cheap Chinese food in my apartment. Even putting away $50 a month at your age will add up huge by the time you're 60. I barely have $50 to spare. Then do $25. Do something. Future, you will thank you. So I started putting away $25 a month. It wasn't much, but it felt like I was building something. My parents still didn't contact me. I'd see posts on social media, Emma's graduation photos, family dinners, a vacation to the beach, everyone smiling like I'd never existed. I stopped checking after a while. Easier that way. I was working a closing shift when I got the call that changed everything. It was a random Tuesday, about a year and a half after I'd moved out. I was organizing the cereal aisle when my phone rang with an unknown number. Normally, I'd let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. Hello? Jake, it's Dad. My hand tightened around the phone. What do you want? I need to talk to you about something important. I'm at work. This can't wait. Can you meet me somewhere? No. Silence for a beat. No? You kicked me out. You don't get to call me up and demand meetings. Jake, come on. This is about family. Family that hasn't spoken to me in over a year? Pass. Emma was in an accident. My stomach dropped. Is she okay? She's fine. Walked away with some bruises. But the car is totaled. The car. Of course, this was about the car. Okay? The car's totaled, Dad repeated, like I hadn't heard him. Total loss. Insurance is only covering part of it because of how the accident happened. That's unfortunate. Jake, I need your help. With what? We still owe $18,000 on the car. Insurance is covering maybe $12,000. That leaves us with a $6,000 gap, plus we need to get Emma another car. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. And you're calling me why? You're her brother. I thought maybe you could help with the payment gap. Just until we get back on our feet. You're joking. I'm completely serious. This is a family emergency. Dad, I work at a grocery store and take 2 classes at community college. I live in an apartment with 3 roommates and take the bus everywhere because I can't afford a car. What part of that screams, I have $6,000 lying around? I'm not asking for the full amount right away. Maybe you could do a payment plan. A few hundred a month. The audacity was breathtaking. Let me get this straight. You kicked me out for asking why Emma got a car and I didn't. Now Emma's wrecked that car, and you want me to help pay for the damage. Do I have that right? You're twisting things. No, I'm summarizing. You called me after a year and a half of silence to ask for money. For the car that started this whole mess. Jake, we all make mistakes. I'm asking you to be the bigger person here. The bigger person? Where was the bigger person when you threw me out? Where was the bigger person when I was working 2 jobs and sleeping 4 hours a night? Where was the bigger person when I had to sell my car for scrap and ride the bus in the snow? That was your choice. No, it was your choice. You kicked me out. You stopped talking to me. You acted like I died. And now you want my help because Emma wrecked her shiny new car that she got for free while I got nothing. She's your sister. A sister who didn't even say goodbye when I moved out. Who responds to my messages with okay if she responds at all. That sister? Dad's voice got hard. I'm not asking. I'm telling you this is what families do. They help each other. Butter, families also don't kick out their kids for asking questions. They don't play favorites so obvious a blind person could see it. They don't ignore their son for over a year and then expect him to bail them out. So that's it? You're going to let your parents struggle because you're still bitter about a car? I'm not bitter about a car, Dad. I'm realistic about a family that never gave a damn about me unless I was useful. That's not true, and you know it. Do I? Name one thing you've done for me in the past 2 years. One single thing that showed you cared about me as a person and not just as a convenient punching bag for Emma's achievements. Silence. That's what I thought, I said. Don't call me again. I hung up before he could respond. Stood there in the cereal aisle with my hands shaking, staring at boxes of Cheerios and trying to process what just happened. Austin found me 20 minutes later, still standing in the same spot. Dude, you okay? He asked. You've been stocking the same shelf for like half an hour. My dad just called. First time since you moved out? Yeah. What did he want? I told him the whole story. Emma's accident, the totaled car, the request for money. Austin stared at me. He wants you to pay for her car? The car that caused all this in the first place? Yep. What did you say? Told him no and hung up. Good. That's messed up even for your family. The calls didn't stop after that. Dad called 3 more times that week. I sent him straight to voicemail each time. Then Mom started calling. Then Emma. Emma's voicemail was particularly special. Jake, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I really need your help. The car accident wasn't my fault. And now Mom and Dad are stressed about money. If you could just help a little bit, it would mean so much. Please call me back. I deleted it without responding. The texts started next. Long messages from Mom about family obligations and how they'd always provided for me growing up. So the least I could do was help in their time of need. Dad sent shorter, angrier messages about disrespect and ingratitude. Emma sent photos of the wrecked car. Like that was supposed to make me feel guilty or something. The Mazda was indeed totaled. Front end completely smashed, deployed airbags, fluid leaking everywhere. Must have been a serious hit. I forwarded all the messages to Austin without responding to any of them. They're really going all in on this guilt trip, he observed. Yeah, it's not working. Good. Screw them. 2 weeks after the initial call, someone knocked on my apartment door at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I stumbled out of bed assuming it was a delivery or something. It was Dad, standing in my hallway looking older than I remembered. Gray in his hair that wasn't there before. Lines around his eyes. He was wearing his weekend casual clothes, polo shirt and khakis, like he'd dressed up for this. Jake, we need to talk, he said before I could close the door. No, we don't. Just give me 5 minutes. I gave you 18 years. I think you've had enough of my time. I drove an hour to get here. I didn't ask you to. Jake, please. I'm trying to make things right. Something about the way he said it made me pause. Not because I believed him, but because I was curious what kind of making things right involved asking for money. Fine. 5 minutes. Out here. You're not coming inside. Dad nodded and leaned against the hallway wall. He looked uncomfortable, which gave me a small amount of satisfaction. I screwed up, he started, with how I handled things when you were home. The way I treated you versus Emma. I see that now. Took you long enough. I'm trying to apologize here. You're trying to soften me up so I'll give you money for Emma's car. There's a difference. He flinched. That's not... Okay, yes, we need help with the car, but I also genuinely want to fix our relationship. Convenient timing. Jake, I know I wasn't fair to you. I played favorites. I see that now, and I'm sorry. The words sounded sincere, but I'd learned enough about people in the past 18 months to know sorry doesn't mean much without action. What happened with Emma's car? I asked. You said it wasn't her fault. Dad shifted uncomfortably. She was texting while driving. Ran a red light and got T-boned by a truck. Texting while driving. She made a mistake that could have killed someone. And now you want me to help pay for it. The truck driver wasn't hurt. Emma walked away with bruises. It could have been so much worse. And whose fault would that have been? Oh, right, Emma's. Because she was breaking the law by texting behind the wheel. She learned her lesson. Did she? Or did she learn that Big Brother will bail her out when she screws up? That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, Dad. You gave her a brand new car. She wrecked it doing something stupid and illegal. And now you're asking me, the son you kicked out, to pay for her mistake. How is any of that fair? I'm asking you to be the bigger person, to show that you're not the bitter, resentful person you were when you left. The bigger person. Again with that. I'm not bitter, I'm realistic. You want $6,000 from someone who makes $14 an hour and lives with 3 roommates. That's not me being bitter. That's you being delusional. Even a little bit would help. No. Jake. No. Final answer. Don't ask again. What happened to you? Dad asked quietly. You used to be such a sweet kid. That kid got kicked out at 18 for asking a question. This is what's left. I went back inside and closed the door. Heard him standing there for a minute before his footsteps retreated down the stairs. My phone rang 5 minutes later. Mom this time. Your father is very upset, she said without preamble. Good morning to you too. This isn't funny, Jake. We're in a serious situation here. A situation Emma created by texting and driving. Mistakes happen. Not to me, they don't. Because I can't afford mistakes. I learned that when you kicked me out. We didn't kick you out. You chose to leave. Dad gave me an ultimatum. Change my attitude or leave. I left. Those are the facts. Mom sighed. Can we please move past this? We're trying to extend an olive branch here. An olive branch that costs $6,000? We're asking for help from family. I'm not family, remember? I'm the bitter, resentful kid who couldn't be happy for his sister. Jake, please. Emma's been having a hard time with this. She feels terrible about the accident. She should feel terrible. She could have killed someone. She made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. And everyone deals with the consequences. That's how life works. We can't afford this on our own. Then I guess Emma will have to take the bus like I did. Welcome to the real world. I hung up before she could respond. The harassment continued for another week. Calls, texts, voicemails. My extended family even got involved. Aunt Linda called to tell me I was being selfish. Uncle Greg sent a long text about family values. Cousins I barely knew messaged me on social media. It was coordinated. Like they'd all gotten together and decided to tag team guilt trip me into submission. I blocked them all. Every single one. Austin came home one night to find me stress-eating pizza on the couch. They still at it? He asked. My cousin just sent me Bible verses about forgiveness. Yikes. Right? These people ignored me for over a year and now they're quoting scripture because they need money. What are you gonna do? Nothing. They'll get tired eventually. They didn't get tired. They got creative. Emma showed up at my work 2 weeks later. Walked right up to my register during the evening rush while I was checking out customers. Jake, can we talk? She asked, looking small and sad. I'm working. It'll just take a minute. Emma, I'm in the middle of a transaction. Please, I really need to talk to you. The customer I was checking out looked between us awkwardly. I wanted to die of embarrassment. Wait outside, I told Emma through gritted teeth. I'll take my break in 15 minutes. She nodded and left. I finished checking out the customer, while my face burned. 15 minutes later, I found her sitting on the curb outside the store. She looked up when I approached, and I noticed she'd been crying. Makeup smudged, eyes red, the whole thing. What do you want? I asked. I wanted to apologize. For everything. Okay. Apology received. Can I go back to work now? Jake, please, I know I messed up. With the car, with how I treated you before. I just want to make things right. Make things right? Emma, you barely spoke to me after I left. You responded to my messages with okay if you responded at all. Now you show up at my job because you need something. That's not making things right. That's manipulation. I'm not trying to manipulate you. Then what do you call this? Showing up at my workplace crying during a rush when you know I can't just walk away? I didn't know where else to go. Mom and Dad are fighting constantly about money. They took out a loan for the car and now they can't make the payments. They're talking about selling the house. So get a job and help them. I have a job. I work at Starbucks. But it doesn't pay enough to cover a car loan. Then take the bus like I did. Jake, please, I know you hate me. I don't hate you, Emma. I don't feel anything about you. You're just this person who used to be my sister before my family decided I wasn't worth keeping around. She started crying harder. That's not fair. I was just a kid. I didn't know. You were 16 when I left. Old enough to know what was happening. Old enough to at least say goodbye. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I was stupid and selfish and I took you for granted. Is that what you want to hear? I don't want to hear anything. I want to go back to work and forget this conversation happened. So you're really going to let mom and dad lose the house? Let me not have a way to get to work? All because you're mad about something that happened 2 years ago? And there it was. The real Emma coming through. I'm not letting anything happen. You created this situation. You wrecked a car doing something illegal. You and mom and dad decided to take out a loan you couldn't afford. Those are choices you made. I had nothing to do with them. We're family. Family doesn't kick out their kids for asking questions. Family doesn't ignore them for over a year. Family doesn't show up at their workplace to manipulate them into giving money they don't have. I'm not manipulating. Yeah, you are. You're crying and playing the victim and trying to make me feel guilty. But I've had over a year to think about how this family treated me. And I've realized something important. What? You never loved me. None of you did. I was just useful. Someone to compare Emma to so she'd look better. Someone to blame when things went wrong. Someone to exploit when you needed money. That's not true. Isn't it? Can you name one time in the past 5 years where mom or dad showed up for me the way they showed up for you? One birthday party, one school event, one anything where I was the priority? Emma opened her mouth, then closed it. That's what I thought. Go home, Emma. Take the bus if you have to. Get a second job. Do what the rest of us do when life gets hard. But don't come here asking me to fix your problems. I walked back inside without waiting for her response. My manager pulled me aside 10 minutes later. Everything okay? She asked. That girl seemed upset. Family stuff. It's handled. Just so you know, if someone's harassing you at work, we can ban them from the store. It won't happen again. It didn't. Emma didn't come back. But the phone calls continued. Dad, mom, various relatives, all with the same message. Family helps family. I was being selfish. Didn't I care about them at all? The answer was simple. No, I didn't. They'd used up all my caring when they kicked me out. Around month 3 of this harassment campaign, something interesting happened. I got a text from Emma's friend Madison. We'd never been close, but I remembered her from when Emma used to bring friends around the house. Hey Jake, this is Madison. Can I ask you something? Sure, I texted back, curious. Is it true your parents kicked you out 2 years ago? Yeah, why? Emma's been telling people you left because you were mad about her car, but that seemed like BS. I sent her a screenshot of the conversation that started it all. The one where I asked if Dad was planning to help me buy a car like he'd helped Emma. Holy crap, Madison replied. She's been saying you threw a tantrum and stormed out. Nope, Dad told me to leave if I didn't like it, so I left. That's messed up. Yeah, want me to set the record straight? Do what you want. Doesn't matter to me either way. Madison apparently decided to set things straight. Within a week, several of Emma's friends had reached out to apologize for believing the story Emma had been telling. Turns out the family narrative had been that I was a spoiled brat who couldn't handle Emma getting something nice. The truth was spreading, and my parents didn't like it. Dad called one final time about 4 months after the initial accident. You've been telling lies about us, he said without preamble. I've been telling the truth. You're making us look like terrible parents. You made yourselves look like terrible parents by being terrible parents. We gave you everything. You gave Emma everything. You gave me a place to sleep and food to eat, which is the legal minimum. Then you kicked me out the second I questioned why she got better treatment. We didn't kick you out. Yes, you did. You gave me an ultimatum. Leave or change. I chose leave. Those are your words, not mine. Silence for a beat. I want you to stop telling people about our family business. Or what? Or we'll take legal action. I actually laughed. For what? Telling the truth? Good luck with that. Jake, I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with your calls. I'm done with your guilt trips. Emma wrecked her car doing something stupid and illegal. That's not my problem. You kicked me out and ignored me for over a year. That's not my problem either. Figure out your own lives and leave me out of it. I hung up and blocked his number. Then Mom's. Then Emma's. Then every other relative who'd participated in the harassment campaign. It was over. Finally over. Life got better after that. I kept working, kept going to school, finished my associate's degree, and transferred to a 4-year university on a partial scholarship. Got promoted at work to supervisor, which came with better pay and actual healthcare benefits. Moved into a better apartment with just one roommate, Jenna from my business class. We started dating around graduation and decided living together made financial sense. Bought my first car, nothing fancy, just a reliable Honda Accord with 80,000 miles. But it was mine. I saved up and paid cash for it. No loan, no help, no strings attached. Started seeing posts from Emma on social media about her journey after the accident. Lots of motivational quotes about growth and learning from mistakes. She got a new car eventually, a used Kia that looked about 10 years old. Good for her, I guess. My parents' financial situation apparently stabilized. They didn't lose the house. From what I heard through the social media grapevine, they refinanced and cut back on spending. Emma got a second job to help with payments. They figured it out, without me. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. Actual physical mail forwarded from my old apartment. It was from Dad, a handwritten note on his business stationery. Jake, I know you've blocked us on everything, so I'm trying one last time to reach out. I want you to know that I'm proud of you. I've heard through the family that you graduated college and got a good job, that you're doing well for yourself. I wish things had gone differently with us. I wish I'd been a better father to you. I see now how unfair I was, how much I let you down. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and I hope you're happy. Dad. I read it twice, then put it in a drawer. Didn't respond, didn't reach out, just filed it away with the rest of the past. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt, and I'm okay with that. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.